All right, sixth grade, welcome to the sixth grade tie-dye for field day. Today we are tie-dyeing bandanas. I am Miss O'Neill, your host. And the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is review some safety expectations with you all for this activity. So first things first, make sure you remain seated during the entire activity. You can raise your hand for anything that you need. An adult will bring it to you, whether it's rubber bands, gloves, extra dye, etc. You are going to wear protective gloves to cover your hands. The bandanas are going to be soaked in something called soda ash, and also the dye will stain your hands. I'm just going to show you an example real quick. This is like some paint and some dye on my hands. I don't care if you want your hand to look like this. You've got to make sure we put safety first and we have our gloved hands like this. Please be careful if dye gets on clothes and shoes. It will stain, just like our acrylic paint we're using in class. When you are ready to add dye to your rubber banded bandana, do so over your tray. So check this out. I have tons of these sort of food trays in my classroom. You're going to do all of your dyeing over this tray, so that way we can dump the excess dye down the drain at the end of the activity. Okay. Also, please make sure that as you guys are rubber banding your bandana in different formations, which we'll talk about in a second, that you do not pocket extra rubber bands, shoot anybody, yourself included, and no horseplay of any kind will be tolerated. So please make sure that whether you're washing your hands at the end of the activity, that you keep your hands and your feet to yourself and you are respectful of the space and those around you. Okay. Next thing. There's a video that we are going to watch at the end. It shows you how to tie-dye in different fashions, but I want to share this with you real quick. So for those folks that have not tie-dyed before, I just want to share this with you. Wherever you fold, twist, and rubber band the fabric, it will remain white. Okay, so let me say that again. Wherever you fold, twist, and rubber band the fabric, it will remain white. Okay, everything else will be the color that you dye it. So those rubber bands, the twisting techniques, and also the folding techniques acts as a resist. So you'll see here that this person had a rubber band here. Okay, this is the pinkish color is the main color of their dye, and anywhere where it was white, it was either kind of folded or twisted together, or a rubber band was placed. Okay, so the rubber banding and the twisting and the folding is how you keep your white. All right, there are 3 different tie-dye techniques to try: the spiral, stripes pattern, triangle pattern. Honestly, make your own. Anywhere where you rubber band or twist or fold will remain white. Just have a good time with it. But for anybody that's interested in testing these out, this is what the bandana looks like when you start to twist it. It's basically you pinch it in the center and kind of twist it like you're turning like a doorknob. Okay. And then it starts to create the spiral pattern. From there, you twist it until it creates a circle, and you wagon wheel rubber band it. Okay, so you can see how there's a few rubber bands that are holding that twisted form together. From there, this person actually did a color wheel sort of rotation of their dye colors. Okay, so these colors are in color order. We'll talk about that in a moment. Final product there, you can kind of see, obviously that's on a shirt. We're going to go ahead and tie-dye with a rubber band. Okay, you can see another stripes one here. This one is kind of a folded accordion style, so back, forth, zigzag, so back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, scrunched together. You can see how they rubber banded it here incrementally. Okay, and where it's scrunched together and where it's rubber banded, it remained white. So this is kind of what it looks like, when it's rubber banded and when it's dyed. If you were familiar with folding a flag, this is the triangle fold. You can fold your bandana any number of ways, just into a series of triangles, rubber band it, and dip into the dye. Okay, this just gives you one last example before we talk about color options on your table. So another tie-dye example is this right here. So again, we have everything that is scrunched and folded and rubber banded, and this is the final result. Okay, so you can kind of just see how it's pinched together with those rubber bands and where the dye ended up. Okay, but I would encourage you to make your own formations. Okay, there's really not a wrong way to do this. Okay. Last but not least, I want to talk about the color wheel. Okay. So in art class, we talk a lot about analogous colors, colors that are side by side on the color wheel, and how those colors are best friends and they share a color in common. Okay. Real quick, I want to share with you what we have out here. Okay. So take a moment to look at your table. What I have here is a color wheel in color order. Okay, with our bottles of tie-dye that you're going to be using. Okay, if you use colors that are side by side, okay, and accidentally overlap them, they are fine. If you even skip one color, let's say I go from yellow to pink, okay, nothing bad will really happen. All right, let's say I go from yellow to something across the color wheel from that, which would be violet or red violet. If those two that are far apart overlap, they will create a neutral color. Okay, can you place those side by side? Absolutely. But if they overlap, they'll create a neutral. So just remind yourself, take a moment to check this out. Anything that is in color order, if you accidentally overlap them, not an issue. If you skip around too much and overlap, it will create a neutral color. We do also have black for you all to work with today. Okay. Last but not least, okay, when you take these home, please make sure that you wash them separately without any other clothing in your washing machine. Okay, so you need to wash them separately. You're going to take your tie-dye out of the bag, remove the rubber bands. You're going to rinse it until the water runs clear and wash it alone in cold water and heat dry. Okay, so that is the protocol for doing that. All right. So 6th grade, right now, we're going to go ahead, while we're passing out supplies, we're going to go ahead and play a video real quick just to kind of set you up with how to do the tie-dye today. So you're going to start with your piece and begin rubber banding it. And remember, keep your hands and your feet, rubber bands, gloves to yourself. Okay, raise your hand if you need an adult to help you. And last but not least, be safe, but have a good time. See ya.